When I hear about gangs, I always think about people coming together as a group, looking out for one another. I always think about how they try to stay together through tough times, right? I think most teens join gangs because it's either through an influence of a family member or a friend, or because they're afraid for what happens if they're by themselves. Those get affected by joining gangs because they're committing to a life that isn't too favorable, a life that often requires crimes and often ends up 6 feet under. We can do a lot to stop this issue. One of the main reasons I believe gangs are about is because of poverty, because of people having tough times to make it through. And, we have to unite as a community, not just as a city, but as a whole country, to slowly try to equalize this whole middle class. Gangs do not personally affect me, but I've learned a lot about gangs. I know of people who are in gangs. I know of people who have tried to get me into a gang. Suffice to say, it didn't work. I personally have never experienced any form of gang violence or gang influence, but I do see it in my community. I do see some of my friends being gangs and how they're affected. Billy Gonzalez.
What comes to mind when you hear the word gangs, or anything about gangs?
My first thought is basically a group of people trying to make a point. Right? Gang doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing. It can be positive.
Gangs. I think of the word thug right away. I think of violence, but I also think about, I know a guy who actually trying to unify gangs, so I think about him. And I think about actually what the original purpose of gangs were, which were not to sell drugs and kill people, but was to create brotherhood. So that's kind of what I think about.
Okay, so why do you think that teens now, they join gangs? Think it's for the same reason that you just said, or for other reasons?
Nobody would tell.
So why do you think that teens now, they join gangs? Think it's for the same reason that you just said, or for other reasons?
Nobody would tell them not to. I think it's a lack of guidance. So and I think a lot of people would probably say this, when you find guidance, or if you find somebody that's willing to take care of you or give you money or anything like that, if they have to be affiliated, it's a lot easier to get involved in a game.
Maybe because they feel insecure themselves. Maybe because they think by joining certain gangs, they think that they might be able to feel safe by themselves and stuff.
What personally affect your life?
They don't, for the most part. I'd say that I don't know who in the school or anybody that I would work with as a student here that's affiliated in the game. So I don't think at all. But that doesn't mean that it may not impact what we do. I honestly feel like I tell people this all the time, that I feel safe walking in any part of Manhattan. I'll walk from the top to the bottom. And I feel safe there. And so I feel like, as far as I know, I don't know about any gang activity that happens in Manhattan. I'm sure it's there, I just don't know.
Okay, affect you and your community?
Me personally, it doesn't affect me because I'm not doing anything. I do know a lot of people that I keep a distance. In the community, it does a lot of out of the streets, forming into different places like after school activities, maybe like go out onto the countryside, maybe get them into get them active. Because the thing is, since a lot of parents they work too much, they have too much freedom.
How do you think gangs rank among the biggest problems in New York City? Like, how do you think gangs rank amongst the most problems in New York City? Like, like abortion, gay rights. Like, what do you think?
I think it's the top 5.
You think top
Top 5 because gangs, what they usually do is control a territory. When it comes to like a negative things, they're trying to control the territory and basically have their own rules and people just do whatever they want them to. So I think that's top 5. Thank you.
I tell people this all the time that I feel safe walking in any part of Manhattan. I'll walk from the top to bottom. And I feel safe there. And so I feel like, as far as I know, I don't know about any gang activity that happens in Manhattan. I'm sure it's there, I just don't know.
Okay, what do you think can be done like about gangs? Like what's the solution to it? Like, per se?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know they exist, but I feel like they're not as prevalent, they're not as influential as they once were. I would say a unique way as a guy that I used to know was he was trying to promote, our guy I know actually, he was trying to promote what it really meant to be a blood or what it really meant to be a Crip and where they originally began or what the purpose was to really educate the young